All right. So today's date is January 23rd, 2019, and this is a beautiful Wednesday here in Northern California. My name is Lauro Herrera, and I'm a life insurance agent selling final expense for 15 years, and I'm also a virtual final expense trainer here with my company. I have the honor to have one of my good friends on the phone here today, Kim Wilhelm. And Kim Wilhelm, for all of you guys listening here on YouTube, is a friend of mine and a man that I've really admired over the years because he understands final expense sales, but more importantly, he's one of the pioneers of final expense telephone sales. He owns a company by the name of Final Expense Direct right there in Houston, Texas. And a quick story for everybody listening in. In 2010, I found myself developing leads, telemarketing leads. And at the time, I was a field guy. And I just couldn't buy into telephone sales. And it's ironic today because we're not only, we dominated field, we dominated the phone, but also virtual. But it's funny to me how time changes. But at the time, Kim, you had a very small group of agents. And I remember me and you having a talk about, how you were just putting this group together, how you had some group do you wrong in the past, and you were just building this telephone operation. And one of the things I've always loved about you, Kim, is that you led your agents from the front. You're one of the greatest salesmen I know. And here today, you have a massive organization selling final expense over the phone. And it is just amazing for me to watch your success, my friend. I mean, you just hit, what was it, the 500 fastest growing companies, right, in America? You were featured in that, and that was so amazing for me, and it motivated me so much to keep doing what we were doing. And at the time, which was final expense door knocking, but then eventually we came over to the phones, and today we're virtual agents, Kim. So Kim,
yeah,
thank you, man, for accepting to jump on here, and agreeing to this interview. I know that you're a low-key guy, but, I get on here so people in the marketplace can find inspiration, and realize that final expense is just an amazing, career path for us. So, Kim, with that said, thank you for joining us today. And I wanted to start off with a couple questions for you, Kim.
Sure thing, Lauro. Happy to.
How long have you been in the insurance business, Kim, and how'd you get into final expense?
I first got my insurance license in 1970.
Wow.
And I knocked doors for the first 5 years for a company called Combined Insurance Company.
Wow, they're a great company. Wow.
Yeah, and then I learned what a lead was.
Oh, okay.
And it changed my world.
Wow.
A lead is an entree. No more door knocking. Although leads cost money, they shorten the success time to be successful.
Right.
By having an interested party as opposed to going and finding someone. And then,
correct.
And then for years, I've run organizations where I provided free leads to the agents with the mindset of a salesman without a lead just thinks he's a salesman.
That's true.
And so started selling final expense back in 1984.
Wow.
Left it to go into some other businesses I started over the telephone. one being a long-distance company that we started in 1990, and 5 years later had 400 people on the phone selling long distance.
Wow.
Yes, sir. And came back to the insurance business in 2002, and then the final expense space back in 2004.
Wow.
And then started Telesales in 2007. And at that time, there wasn't much of anybody doing telesales, but I think Lincoln Heritage might have had a little bit. Small call center and Senior Life was doing a little bit.
Right. Well, yeah,
but there weren't any independents.
Was the one that was heading up that telephone operation for Lincoln in those early stages.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there wasn't any, there weren't any other independents like us.
Wow.
So there wasn't a business plan, so to speak, to follow, or a track to follow. It was something that it was, a trial and error. At the time, Baltimore Life had just come out with their new product with a voice signature, and there was a couple other companies that thought that they were God's gift to telesales, but their application process was a nightmare.
Wow.
One of them was Shenandoah, who eventually went into receivership.
Right.
But today we've gone from just having Baltimore Life in the beginning to where we now have a portfolio that have been strategically picked of 6 companies to be able to truly shop for the client.
Right.
To get them the best plan at the best price based on their age and their health. And,
absolutely.
And it's the same thing we did going in home, but now we're able to do it over the telephone. And the beauty of the telephone is when I was a top salesman, I wrote $8,000 to $10,000 a week in premium every week, but I had to travel 1,500 to 1,800 miles to go where other agents weren't willing to go to get a volume of leads cost effectively.
Right.
And so over the telephone, I don't have to worry about Houston, Texas, a 40-mile radius of my office. There's 40,000 insurance agents.
Right.
Not enough leads. So the telephone, the telephone opens up the whole United States to be our playground.
It does.
It truly does.
A highly professional sales guy like me and you, Kim, it's a playground. It's a playground. Because
it's a wonderful thing.
It is. It's a numbers game, and it just opens up a huge door. Let me ask you another question, Kim. What was some of the myths, some of the challenges people would come at you with? What were they telling you when you first started? What were they saying? Kim, you're crazy, man. That ain't going to work. What was it?
Well, there's always the naysayers. I can't see doing this over the phone. You're actually going to be able to get someone to give you their social or their bank account over the phone without seeing you. A lot of that.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Why do you think a lot of people were saying that, Kim, when they never ever picked up the phone to sell some insurance? Why do you think a lot of folks would talk in that manner? And here we are in 2019.
Most agents don't like the telephone. Most agents don't like adversity. Just like a normal agent, he sells a client, the first draft comes back in SF, and rather than call the client and try and fix it, he would rather go sell a new client to offset that chargeback he's going to get. They just don't like adversity, and they don't understand the telephone. When they don't understand something, they shun it.
They do. They truly do.
Yeah, they really do.
They really do. Wow.
So
let me ask you this, Kim. Today, I was working with you in 2010, and here we are in 2019. But today, when you look at your staff, you guys are writing millions a year in final expense.
Yes, sir.
What do you think about what me and you've been talking about, virtual and final expense, and adding just a little bit of a virtual element to your client base? What do you think of that as we've discussed that?
Well, we have been focused on trying to bring virtual and more internet into our practice.
Really?
And it's a strong focus of our company for 2019 and 2020.
Wow, man.
My whole goal, yeah, you know, and one of the reasons I was a 60% closer is going in home. If they can see, touch, and feel you, and you command a strong presence, you don't have to be a hard closer. Your knowledge,
right,
your professionalism does it. And I have been a believer for quite some time that over the telephone, with the right technology, you may not be a 60% closer, but you can go from a 20, 22, 25, 28%
absolutely
up to a 35 or 40 with the proper technology and quality leads.
Absolutely. You know, Kim,
So
as a company, you know, us as a company, when I look at my telephone agents and I look at the bottom line numbers, 20% is what we close at. Some agents do better, others do worse, right? But as a company, we write checks knowing that every lead we're going to convert to 20%. And it's the truth, what you're saying.
And 20% is a good number.
As a company, right? But
yes, sir.
When we add virtual, what we found, it's building up from that 20. Those video messages to Miss Betty to remind her of her premium. Those video messages to Miss Betty to to thank her for her business or to congratulate her on her anniversary with Mr. Jones, right? It adds that inch to our retention. It just does.
Absolutely.
And me and you were talking about that, right? Even if it's tacky, it's maybe people think it's a waste of time. Those few extra minutes that we can take on a virtual video adds to our long-term success. Would you agree with that, Kim?
I mean, I totally agree.
Right? And you being one of the, I want to say you're in the top 1 or 2 call centers that I know in the whole nation. Other than that, there's nobody else doing the amount of volume over the phone that you're doing, okay? And without dropping names, right? But you
I understand.
You have cut out a notch of success over the phones. And here we are talking about virtual final expense and adding value to our client. And that's really why I wanted people to hear you, man, because you're such a humble dude. You're very low key. But you know what, man? Kim, we got to get you talking in front of people more. We do. You know why? Because we need hope. 92% of agents fail in this business, Kim. And you know what?
I know that.
And you know what comes to my mind? Years ago, I was sitting down in a insurance carrier conference. I was invited there by some folk that own an insurance company. And one of the old timers got up on there and he said, why is it that a lot of the youngsters are not getting into this business? Why is that? And another guy gets up there, okay? Understand there's about 1,600 representatives from carriers, right, all over the nation. And he says this, and he blew my brains. He says, there is not a true distribution plan like there was back in the 50s and the 60s of people training their agents properly on how to sell that product. And then when the lead came into play, people got away even more from what it is that we do, which is educating our clients on the policies that we sell them. And that's what he was referring to. Everybody got into the mentality of recruit, recruit, recruit. You know? And yes, I would be lying if our business is not based on recruiting. It is, because we're building a company. But it should be based on training our folk how to service, sell, and bring value to our clients, right? And
Laurel, there's two main reasons that there's a 90% failure within 5 years of entering the business. You're spot on with your first one, which is training, quality training. A lot of these agencies or insurance companies, they have recruiters, they churn people, and quality training is not there. But,
they do.
But after the training, it comes down to what I call a place to go, which means a lead.
Right.
Most agents can't afford to buy leads, don't know where to buy quality leads, and there are a lot of bad leads out there.
Big time.
So we at our company have built what I like to call a machine.
Yeah, absolutely. You got a money-making machine, man.
Well, if I could get a little bit better on my recruiting selection, I would like to think that we could make a lot more money, but it's okay. My terminology is when we recruit people, we ask them to have blind faith that we know what we're doing. We have a script that works, rebuttals. We have solid training and retraining, and we have a high volume of leads live transferred to them every day. So what I like to say is that we do the heavy lifting.
You do. There's no question about it.
Absolutely. And you need to have blind faith. We know what we're doing. Own the experience. Drive here in the morning. Plug in. Take the calls. Own the experience. At the end of the day, unplug and drive home and make a meaningful income for your family.
Absolutely, man. You know what, Cam? You're a good man. You've helped out a lot of people, man, have success in this business. Let me ask you a question. Share this with our public. Where can someone call you that's right there in Houston, Texas, that can, show up for an interview or go and submit their resume? Can you provide that info so everybody can hear this right now?
Absolutely. The address of our facility is in Sharpstown, southwest Houston, at 6201 Bonham, Bonhomme Road, Suite 110 South. I would tell you that my personal cell number, 713-817-2233.
Awesome.
We do have a full-time recruiter, Lewis.
What's her number?
First of all, Lewis started with me in '89.
Okay. No, I'm going to send you people. I'm going to send you people right there in Houston, Kim, because there's.
Please do.
Because this opportunity, we need to go out there and spread the word, Kim. Really.
I agree, and we're looking for bilingual as well, Lauro.
Awesome, man. That's even better. So go ahead and once again, what's the phone number people can call the office and set up an interview and go in and go for an interview, Kim? What is it? What's the phone number one more time?
832-328-3283, extension 104.
Awesome. So guys, everybody on here that's listening, if you're in the Houston area, you're looking for a career where you can make 6 figures a year by being a professional final expense agent, selling insurance over the phone. And soon, as you heard Kim, we're going to be adding some more virtual benefits and elements to the whole game plan. Call him. This guy's one of the best in the industry. He writes millions of dollars of final expense. And when he says have blind faith in his program, believe in that, because this man started from the bottom. And he's a man I respect because he's a sales guy first. He's not an investor. He's not you know, a fancy guy out there buying out an agency. No, he started as an agent. And here he is, one of America's 500 fastest growing companies in the nation running Final Expense. And Kim, man, congratulations again, bro, because that's a huge, huge, you know, accomplishment. And that inspires me, man. You know what I mean? Because I was there. I was there. I heard you. You know, and that motivates me. Every single day I put on my boots.
Lauro.
You know? Let me ask you one last question before I wrap this up.
Sure.
Where do you see Final Expense going in the next 10 years? Where do you see it? Because you write a lot of it. Where do you see? You see it slowing down?
You know, the Mutual of Omaha in the mail, or the New York
I lost
Life.
you. I lost you, Cam. The phone cut out there. So where do you see Final Expense going in the next 10 years, Cam? I lost you there, brother.
I continue to see tremendous growth, especially as telesales continues to grow.
Right.
Over the last 4 or 5 years, I've seen it go from 450 to 600 million in new sales.
So 450 million to 600 million? Wow.
Yes, sir.
Wow. That's amazing. What else? What advice can you give that agent right now that's questioning his career in Final Expense and maybe thinking of quitting? As my last question, Kim, what would that be?
Seek out an organization such as ours or such as yours that has a plan in place, that has quality training, has a volume of leads, and a fair compensation plan. And don't question it, own it.
Own it. That's it. Wow. Well, Kim, man, I appreciate your time spending with my group and the public. You know, my goal is always to bring value to our community of Final Expense, right? Regardless if you sell it over the phone, in the field, or what we call today virtual. The bottom line, this business has been good to you, it's been good to me, and a bunch of others, right? And we got to keep it going in that direction. So thank you so much, Kim, for that.
All right, bud.